Hello, my name is Michael Church with Indoor Air Quality Specialists. This is an illustration of an outside project that we worked on in Knoxville, Tennessee. One of the first things I would check if you have a basement issue is to make sure that it's graded properly, and also make sure all your downspouts are flowing properly and that your gutters are not clogged, because overflowing gutters can also put a lot of water on your foundation. As you can see, this house had standing water where the chimney and the foundation wall come together. The other thing you can notice about this picture is that there is no waterproofing, or it stops just above the soil line. The problem with this home particularly, they actually had several problems. There was a deck. It's no longer here. We had to remove the deck. There was no flashing between the foundation and the deck. So we had to correct that issue, and the entire deck was rotted, so we took it all down, and it was pouring water into the basement. The other thing is, if you see that block wall that kind of jettisons out from the basement wall, that was a porch, and inside that porch it was hollow, so water would work its way inside that porch, and it was surrounded by dirt, so water would take the path of least resistance, which is actually going into the basement, not the surrounding dirt. So we had to tear that down in order to waterproof this home properly. This is another example. We dug out a little bit, got down to the footer, and took out the drain tile, and you can see that it was waterproofed improperly, probably during the build. There's no tar, or the tar has worn out over the years, and there's no plastic on the foundation walls. These are some of the indications we see in the homes that the tar has either worn out or never was applied, and that the plastic, a lot of times they'll use a 6mm vapor barrier, and the vapor barrier that we did see on some parts of this particular wall was degraded so bad it wasn't even doing any good at this point. Now, this home was built in the 70s, so you can expect after 40 years for plastic to eventually wear out. So this is a problem that many homes built 30, 40 years ago are going to have. This is an example of the drain tile that we pulled out. As you can see, it was clogged severely. There was no water passing through, and there was no gravel bed around it either, not to any significance. So that's why they got clogged as bad as they did. There was no kind of silt protector to keep the drain tile from getting clogged. This is a result of what happened on the inside. You can see the ceiling has been removed. The entire wall, it was furring strips and then paneling, and then drywall over all that, and the fur strips and the paneling were like dust. Termites had gotten in. You can see the watermarks on the wall there. This home, they decided to go ahead and install electrical, so we went ahead and took out all the ceiling. There was no lighting in the ceiling at all. It was one of those 70s homes where you had to flip a switch to turn on a lamp that was plugged in. So we went ahead and took out all the ceiling. You can see the support beam going across there. That's the white beam across the top. Took out all the ceiling, and this is actually the wall that was on the other side of that porch that was built. They also had a fireplace that was probably 10 feet wide. It was an old 70s bricked fireplace, and the homeowners decided to remove the facade because they wanted to gain that space. So we jackhammered all that out and took all the brick out. But what was interesting is the fireplace actually was not installed properly, and all the smoke, or a lot of the smoke, was going between the cinder block and the brick facade. So when we took that brick off, there was a lot of smoke damage, as you can see here. The homeowners did not want to use the fireplace anymore, so we decided to seal the fireplace off and cover the entire wall with drywall. Before we did that, though, we spray foamed the inside of the fireplace to completely air seal it so that there would be no wind coming down through the chimney. And this is a picture of the spray foam that we applied. We also went ahead and spray foamed the rim joist of the basement. According to buildingscience.com, that is what's called a critical seal. Is you go ahead and apply a closed cell spray foam. We are Comfort RX distributors, so we apply closed cell spray foam to all these areas and do an air seal in the basement to help make the house more energy efficient. This is us getting started. It's a little bit of a dark picture, but that's one of our workers getting started digging out the dirt around the foundation. And with this particular project, we had so many obstacles we had to overcome that we had to hand dig the entire project. We didn't use any kind of backhoe or anything other than shovels. Before we got started, we went ahead and put in a French drain in front of the house. As you can see here, this home sits down off the road, so we wanted another layer of protection before the home, or before the water could reach the home. We wanted to put a French drain in, and the little circle is just an open drain that water can flow into. This was a pooling area for water in the past, so we went ahead and put in a French drain, connected it to the downspout, and rolled it around the other side of that bush on the far right. Past the ladder, you can see kind of a tree back there. We took the drain all the way out past there and got it to grade so it would flow downhill. One of the other obstacles that we come across is waterproofing around your heating and air conditioning equipment. This particular home also has a generator. Now, the generator was far enough out because it was actually in front of that block porch that we've already torn down. You can see the black tar on the wall where we tore down that block porch. None of that brick was weatherproofed at all, so we went ahead and put tar on it, and we called our heating and air contractor buddies and had them come out and disconnect the HVAC unit and move it so that we could finish waterproofing around the chimney and the entire foundation of the basement. And all that block you're seeing was the block that we tore off from that that porch that was no longer being used. And what the homeowners are going to do is they're going to build the deck back once all this project is taken care of. You can see here we put the black tar on. We put at least 2 coats of tar and run it all the way down to the footer to create a nice little seal there before we go any further. It's a little bit sticky and messy to work with, but really does a great job. You can get this at your local hardware store if you decide to do this project yourself. So you want to go ahead and put black tar. The other thing that's nice about it is we can paint over that as well. So we can go with white paint to cover up all this. But all of this area here will be covered by a deck anyway, so we're not too worried about cosmetics at this point. The second thing we do after we cover it with black tar is we use a 12 mil vapor barrier instead of a 6 mil. You could even do a thicker one if you like, but a 12 mil seems really good and works really well. And then we attach the vapor barrier with a closed cell spray foam. As you can see all the way across the top, there's a closed cell spray foam keeping moisture from getting behind the vapor barrier. Closed cell spray foam is really good to not only insulate, but also to use as a sealant instead of a caulk. It goes a lot further and seems to set up faster than a caulk does. So this was done during a cold weather and also rain, so the spray foam really did good. And then we bring the plastic down over lapping the footer and even all the way to where the dig out is totally done. And then we're going to fill that in, and we'll show you some pictures here in a minute. But you can notice we wrapped all the way around, and then where the plastic touched each other, we overlapped it about 8 inches, and then also used spray foam to seal the plastic to itself. So that way it's a one complete sealed piece versus having several pieces together. This is a picture of not only the drain that we use, but also the insulation. The basement, as you saw before, was not really insulated well, and the homeowners did not want to insulate the inside of the basement because they were concerned about losing space. So since we were doing this waterproofing on the outside as well, we decided to go ahead and put on an R10 2-inch polystyrene foam board, which is also termite resistant. So this is applied over the plastic, which the plastic is applied over the tar. So you got 3 layers of protection here. Then the polystyrene foam board is then sealed with spray foam. As you can see, everywhere there's a joint, we've got spray foam sealing polystyrene together, and then we use the plastic, and we use spray foam to adhere the foam board to the plastic. So this also creates a watertight area. And then this, we can use black pipe if we need to, but we prefer to use the PVC line with the holes on the bottom, and I'll show you another picture of that here in just a moment. And then you see that white stuff right across there on the dirt. That is actually a sediment barrier that we will put over the gravel once we backfill. Instead of wrapping the pipe, we're going to put the sediment barrier between the gravel and the dirt when we backfill. This gives you a good shot of the pipe. This particular pipe comes with 2 holes, or 2 sets of holes. And those holes should be face down. You see the letters on the pipe of the one that's in the trench. The letters is actually the top. So that way you line it up real good, and then we use elbows. In this case, we had some 90-degree elbows that we attached everything with and used PVC glue to make it watertight. And I didn't get a picture of it, but this particular one, we also have a clean out at the start of the PVC. So that way, if for some reason we notice that this isn't draining properly, we can actually clean it out using a high PSI of air pressure, or we can even put a hose down in it and test it to make sure it's draining properly, because this is going to drain out to daylight, so we'll know whether it's working good or not, and if it's clogged, we'll know it. So this is a great system that we install. That way we know exactly what's going on with the system, and the clean out really helps us to maintain the system for years to come. This is just a couple of pictures of the gravel. Obviously you want to have 3/4 inch to 1 inch size gravel. You don't want real small rock when you're putting that back over those PVC pipes. And then you'll put a sediment filter, just a cloth sediment filter, a plastic sediment filter over the gravel. And then we use what's called a whacker to stamp down the soil, and that's a picture of it. You can get that at your local rental store. That one I think was about $85 to $90 a day. So make sure you're ready for that. Don't rent it until you're ready. It's gas powered, and does a good job, especially with clay, to stamp down the dirt and get everything good and stamped down for you, so you don't have a lot of issues later. And this is kind of a showing of the project. It's not quite done. As you can see, the area around the house is a little lower than it needs to be, so we're going to use topsoil and cover that area up to bring it up over the spray foam. You can see there's still a little bit of spray foam exposed, so we're going to use topsoil to create a grade away from the house, and then that topsoil will also be a good bed for plants and different things that the homeowners want to use. So this is kind of a smaller project. We just had to do this side of the house. The other side is a garage, and it didn't have any water intrusion. Just the water intrusion was in the basement, the finished part of the house. So again, my name is Michael Church, and I hope this was helpful for you. Please let us know if you need anything. Our contact information is at the bottom of the slide. Hope you all have a great day.